you. Are
Yeah.
you ready?
Unmute. I can. Okay.
Right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order this Thursday, February 5th, 2026 meeting of the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission. As we have two public hearings tonight, I want to just quickly go through process for public hearings. During the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The applicant or staff will share all application materials on the screen as needed. Comments from town agencies will be read for each application. There will be clarifying questions from the commissioners, and there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from attendees. For Zoom attendees, please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. As this public hearing must be recorded, attendees will state their names and addresses before asking any questions. Next, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and then those who oppose the application may come forward. Again, it is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time they speak by stating their name and address. The applicant will then have an opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public or the commissioners. Once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the regular meeting, during which the commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of this commission and has a right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Land Use Department at 203-245-5631 after 9 a.m. All actions taken tonight by the commission will be by roll call. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the record before speaking. Seated this evening are members Mike Bogda, Michelle Clark, who's an alternate, but Michelle was absentee, so would you like to be seated? Vice Chair John Huza, Secretary John Morgan, Bob O'Connor, Janet Peckinpah attending via Zoom, and myself, Carol Snow, Chair. This meeting is live streamed on YouTube and will be made available on the town website for viewing. Additionally, I would like to ask that we treat each other respectfully throughout the meeting, and a reminder to please turn off your phones. The town planner will not read the legal notice. Erin Mannix.
Madam Chair, both hearings were opened and the legal notice was read into the record at the first meeting. So I'm just going to say this instead. I'm not reading it.
Okay, great. And in that case, we can go right to our first agenda item. This is a continuation of a public hearing that was opened January 15th, 2026. 25-30 plus a postal site plan for 142 Boston Post Road, map 45, lot 138, zone R2. Owner applicant 142 Boston Post Road, LLC. Postal site plan and site plan applications retained existing mixed-use building with 1,222 square foot office on the first floor and one bedroom unit on the second floor, and to construct a new 4,350 square foot two-story building with 8 residential one-bedroom units, with associated site improvements including parking, walkways, subsurface sewage disposal systems, stormwater management system, a 10-foot by 14-foot storage shed, and a 10-foot by 14-foot covered picnic area pursuant to CGS 8-30G. Applicant like to come over.
Yes, good evening, Ed Casella, representing 142 Boston Post Road LLC, which is an LLC that is owned by Suzanne and Justin Rice, who are here this evening. We're assisted in this application by Thomas Wilcox of Double B Design. Got it right this time. Who is providing the site plans. So Aaron, if you do you want to pull up the
revised?
the updated site plan. I can walk the commission through it. I'll go through high level. Tom can drill into any details.
Can I just make a correction to what I just said? This is a continuation from January 8th, actually.
Yes.
Not 15th.
All right, so 142 Boston Post Road is located on the west side of town, south side of Route 1, over near Nathan's Lane. And it's bounded on the north by the Post Road, on the south by the railroad line, on the west by Land and Lumber, and on the east by another property, I forget, 148 Boston Post Road, which appears to be a commercial property. I couldn't tell if it's mixed use. It's presently improved with an existing building here that contains a learning center that is operated by the applicants. And it has a 620 square foot apartment upstairs. So it's a mixed use building. And there's also an existing garage on the property in the rear. The proposal under Connecticut General Statutes 8-30G is to construct an additional building in the rear of the property with 4,500 square feet that will contain 8 new one-bedroom units. Since the application falls under 8-30G, it requires an affordability component. So including the existing 620 square foot unit that's in the front building, there will be a total of 9 units. With 9 units, they're required to designate 3 of those units as affordable units, and 6 will be market rate units. We can talk more about the affordability component, but we'll just go through the site general site plan and have Tom give you some further information about septic and stormwater. The property is served by public water, subsurface sewage disposal system. Currently on site, there are about 10 parking spaces, and that will be improved. The garage is going to be eliminated, and there's a total of 20 parking spaces proposed under your regulations and the Connecticut statutes related to parking. Only 17 spaces are required, but the applicants have would like to keep the 20 spaces just to make sure there's enough for guests and things like that, because there's really no other public parking in the area. Why don't we go to can you go to the elevations? Dated building plans, I see them there.
Yes, let's see if it'll let me switch.
Wonderful. So here's the proposed building. The 4 units on the first floor, 4 units on the second floor. The 4 units on the first floor each have direct access without common hallway. And then the units on the second floor are accessed by a central stair, which leads to a small hallway if you want to go down to the floor plans, which leads to a small hallway that serves the units. So here's the first floor. You can see the 4 doors going into the units. They're 1-bedroom units. There is a designated accessible unit that has the proper circulation, and it's at grade, so it's accessible. And then going up the stairs, if you want to flip to the second floor, there's a small landing which goes into the next 4 units, all very similar size and 1-bedroom units. Part of the building, go back to the first floor. On the first floor, there are designated spaces for interior spaces for water meter, electric meters, valve room for the sprinkler. This will be sprinklered. In the rear, these are the HVAC systems that will be on the south side of the building. We also have a photometric plan. It doesn't need to be shown, but designating that the lighting is going to be adequate to provide safety for the occupants, so that the parcel is adequately lit. We've worked with the utility companies. There's 2 utilities here. Eversource provides power, and Connecticut Water provides water to the property. So the Rices have engaged both of those, heard responses, gotten feedback, and are in the back and forth about where the location of the utilities are going to be down on the eastern side of the property. Eversource is going to require the installation of a new pole on the property, and then underground from there to a transformer. I think you guys can talk about it. The updates as to the location of the transformer, and then Connecticut Water has also been contacted and have reviewed the site, and we don't expect any problems from a utility perspective.
I'm sorry, do you know where the pole on the property Have,
That's part of the back and forth.
Yeah.
That we're still.
It's not resolved yet.
Yeah, correct.
It's,
I can expand on it.
yeah, go ahead, Tom. Tom's been involved in these
Good evening,
discussions as
everyone.
well, so.
My name is Thomas Wilcox from Double B Design. I am a draftsperson and land use technician for our company. Acting as one of the agents this evening, as I've been working with our professional engineer, Thomas A. Smithens, on the project. He's also a licensed surveyor for this project in our office. Expanding on this particular question, our back and forth with Eversource has been the existing pole in the state right of way is there. And Eversource is at the moment suggesting or asking us to demonstrate a pole on the property. And what they're doing is essentially instead of doing what we would prefer, meaning underground to the property line and then a transformer, working out some of the criteria of who would be doing the underground digging in the state right of way. Eversource will not do that. So we would have to, our clients would have to find an approved Eversource technician that's also licensed and bonded with the state of Connecticut to do this small underground to the property line. So at the moment, we are working that out, but a pole is being suggested just on the property line, and that would be overhead connections. From there, it would be dropping down to a transformer within the easement. Something that we don't feel is ideal, adding another utility pole. It is just not something that we would like to do. It's something that we may have to do because we're working that out. The communication back and forth with Eversource is if Aaron, if I could ask you to go to page 3. The easement would come in. It would follow the property line essentially, and then would take a right-hand 90-degree turn into the utility closet. This would be all underground from the property line to the building. Eversource is fine with that, even with the Connecticut Water 2 service lines, one for potable water, one for fire suppression. The building is going to be sprinkler for fire suppression. As the easement comes over and in, it is going to be shared by those 2 service providers. Both service providers have no problem with that. As long as they can get to the building, we have our separating distances. This map has our meets and bounds. One of the criteria that Eversource is going to require for land use records when it does go to final approvals. So these plans, as they are, they're not approved, but there's no negative comments that have been received. Everything is as they want in regards to showing the fire suppression and the distances of separation. Also with the septic, we're just trying to work out some of the finer details on the infrastructure of a transformer on the ground and that secondary.
So if you get a transformer, you can put a pad.
Correct. That's the standard setup. We're working with an electrical contractor engineer to do the load calculations and completion for the building. Once they have those load calcs, I'm being told Eversource will know what that amperage is, what that load would be from the pole, and then essentially down to that transformer. It would give it size. Once we know the size, we would, if we had to, move the driveway that's right here just to be adequate. We don't want to encumber or have any potential for adverse conditions while going in and out, things of that nature. But yes, a transformer is a certainty. It's just the placement therein at the moment.
but it's anticipated to be just inside from the property line on the post
would
road?
be on their property and it would be within the easement rights, correct?
Okay.
Do you all have any idea when you might get from both the Connecticut Water and Eversource?
The truthful answer is no. I imagine Connecticut Water might be quicker in that we haven't heard of any requirements or comments that we're not currently showing. Connecticut Water asked for the secondary line to come from the street, and that secondary line being the fire suppression line to go into the building. This first closet is going to be the electrical meter room. The second closet is going to be the water.
Regular water.
Yep, the water meter room. And the farthest closet is going to be the valve, for the fire suppression. If I could trouble you, Aaron, to go to the elevations, because they'll show the closets. And the valve room is to be, I believe, locked and temperature controlled. And the meter room is also to be controlled, obviously for freezing and for sealing the water company only to be able to get in and out. So no access essentially.
What happens to the existing utilities that this fine family already has in place?
They stay. The existing building stays with its own utilities.
Be a new one just for that.
Correct. The new building will have its
And
own.
how the new heated?
Electric heat, right? Yeah. Yep.
And I can further expand on.
Yep. Go through your site thing.
If I may, have received comments dated 12/29/25 from a preliminary meeting that we had. And if I'm going to go down just a touch on the bullets, the owners have confirmed sprinklers will be utilized. The parking for the ADA handicap compliance is 1 to 2%, or at least one parking spot, dependent on the number of spots. So with the 20 spots that we have, we're providing 2 handicap spots, one on either side. The idea being accessible, one for this unit, because the unit number 2 on the ground floor, I believe that's the number of the unit, is going to be accessible and compliant for ADA. This spot could assist with any activity in the current use of the building. Moving from there, in regard to the health concerns, at the meeting that we did have, at that time, we did not have sanitary approval for our plans. Since then, we have obtained health approval. We received that on the 3rd, just the other day. We addressed the comments from the health department. It is as it is shown here. That will be our primary leaching field. That will be our tank and the distribution of the effluent through the sewer line into the tank and then to that underground product, which is H20 rated for vehicle loading. It's going to be pavement, and that's going to go into a later topic. And there was notes on the site plan for zoning and development. We did revise our floor areas. We did update our parking calculations. And that's represented on the first page in our zone chart, has all been updated. We have continued our conversations with the utility providers. They're both going well with no negative comments received. We don't anticipate any negative or adverse timelines, just a matter of completing that. the gravel driveway that was previously proposed, we have switched to bituminous asphalt pavement. And as you come in, park on either of the parking spots here and move down into this parking lot will then lead you onto that concrete sidewalk. So it is it's an impervious surface. We had done calculations for the entire site based on the entire site being impervious. And we designed a subsurface stormwater collection using both a catch basin and stormwater collection for the roof systems. We've also provided the existing structure with its own stormwater collection to grab all of the roof water and bring that into collection to assist with any potential adverse conditions. The way that the lot slopes, we're doing minimum contours. We want to leave, the natural drainage patterns as best that they are. We have excellent soils, even though we're adding an impervious surface. The way that everything is going to be sloped and finally paved out, we're going to be able to collect all the stormwater. We're actually above the requirements on, I believe that's going to be our page 5, possibly 6, where we have our mathematics for stormwater system. Both the existing unit, we have calculations for the requirement and what we provide. And we are over what would be the minimum. The same on our stormwater sizing, where we would need, I believe that's 1,487 cubic feet of storage. We're at 1,893 of capability. So we're meeting our mark on that. There wasn't. Go ahead. Absolutely. Please do.
Where do these calculations come from? And can you speak to treatment as well of the?
Calculations, to my knowledge, are coming from the water quality requirements for our current standards for stormwater. And for treatment, it is subsurface. We're collecting the suspended solids. And what the suspended solids will be doing is they'll be retained. If you could move to the next page, please, Aaron. So that's the hydrodynamic separator. This unit is it's going to be collecting runoff and separating it as it filters it out. It's on the bottom of the unit it's capable of basically a sump. Solid particles will be able to go to the bottom. It can be vacuumed clean for periodic maintenance, yearly maintenance, just the longevity and viability of the product and the property. These stormwater systems, they don't separate through cyclonic motion. They separate through sumps as the water would come in. Heavier materials would sink to the bottom, and then the water would flow into the chambers and be retained to allow the ground to slowly absorb that. We've got excellent soils where we are. Again, for the size of the unit and the requirements of the commercial aspect of the multifamily setup, where we hit those markers. We're away for separating distances from the stormwater. There was actually 2 years ago, if you go to the second page, please, Eric. You go page number 2. The existing building, this leaching field and H20 tank was installed about 2 years ago, and it was a full system replacement, and there was no issues. There have been no issues. Everything's been, going extremely well. So that I would say that that's a great litmus test for this site. the size of that system and the conditions that it's currently in. Moving to, we've touched on the photometric plan. There was
This is the mailbox
a mailbox location, if the first page, please, Aaron. It is going to be in, if you could please slide over, and it's going to be in the lower portion of,
Keep going.
there you go. This red box is essentially the location. The postmaster, to the best of my knowledge, has discussed with our clients that there's several opportune spots that they can put it. Proximity to the building and location for the post service provider to drop off the mail. This area is going to be a no parking zone, ideal for a postal worker to be able to, drive in, park, distribute the mail in that pedestal cubicle kiosk stuff for the 8 units. And our first floor elevation is going to be elevation 1650. That was one of the things that we were asked to show. So I've put a call out on the building there, and also on that particular call out, and will correspond with the building plans. We did provide some more spot elevations in regards to doing some topography off of the property, just to show and reiterate how the contours are already naturally moving towards this southern adjoiner. Currently, within this area is all mixed vegetation and trees and things of that nature. Any catchment from this catch basin is going to be ideal as this flow happens. Any flow that is from our property is going to be negligible and no different than what is currently existing.
But at the lower part of the grade.
Correct.
Are you going to do are you planning on any regrading of the existing property? You're going to use the existing?
Both. There's going to be minor grading currently. There's a contour 17 that we're going to be catching. There's also a grade of 16 that we're going to be looking to achieve. And again, this is there's this grade line here that follows around. That's 17, and we've got 16. So the contours aren't. It's I don't want to call it a flat lot because it's not level, but it's an easy sloping property.
Okay.
There's also going to be possibly arborvitaes along this property line to act as a buffer, and on the southern property line, that will also, retain quite a bit of moisture as things progress downward.
You say possibly, does that mean yes?
Yes, we are proposing it. I just don't know if it's an arborvitae, if it's I don't know the Latin terms of maybe a like product or
It says arborvitae.
Okay, good.
But yeah,
And also, how much of a buffer exists between the lot and the train tracks?
like a distance from, let's say, the closest train track to the property line.
Mhm.
I do not know that answer off the top of my head. I could obtain that.
I see that.
Okay.
Do you want to see the aerial?
yeah, let's take a look at the area.
And see if what kind of vegetation exists, any.
So road that they use for maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
There's
That's
a
right.
road they use quite often.
yeah.
And then there's trees, mature trees.
But good to have some planting along that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is, softens it up.
And there's a fence that's gonna stay. I think I saw a fence.
There is a current fence on the western property line separating land and lumber and our subject property. It's been over the years, let's say moved a little, with a lift or lumber here and there. So it will have to be reestablished.
All right, so
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that'll be part of the plan. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the parcel here.
Right, yeah, so true, that
Tracks
space
run
between,
through
but
that.
not much vegetation.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, it looks like generally the, it looks like
A road.
it is an access road.
And details on the photometrics will be available when?
I can share this.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only downfall of switching to online permitting, everything's individual and it's not as easy to pull it up as it used to be when we just uploaded them into a folder.
Janet, are you able to see and follow along with us? Okay, great.
And we can zoom in.
I know the major concern that the individuals that produced the photometric plan was light trespass in making all attempts to be as conservative and respectful of neighbors, given the plan. I am not an electrical engineer, nor have I stayed at a Holiday Inn in a long time. So I could not adequately decipher this to the best of my edification and knowledge. These are the light transmittal diagrams of, and it's catching the parking lot, not exceeding the property line. I believe that it is a low value because I'm going to associate it to 0.
Yeah.
Meaning 0.1. We've got minimal lighting. It is LED. It is dark skies and or downward facing. So the idea again was to be adequate for safety, but also to be as respectful, especially to the eastern neighbor.
Yeah, you can see here the slight. That's basically the only spot right there where it goes over, and it's 0.01, which is not a light trespass.
How many lumens and what the color temperature is?
Let's see what's in the schedule over here.
Okay.
Here we go. All the information.
38, 60.
3661. That's a 12-foot pole.
I tried to grab just at least a depiction for the commission. If you guys want to pass this around,
Okay, great.
that would be the version of that LED fixture,
Okay.
the way that it illuminates
Yeah.
downward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to my knowledge, it's in the same fixture, just rearranged off the pole onto the wall. In regards, moving on, if everyone's okay with that. Innovations, we did add an 8th sheet for erosion and sediment control. If Aaron could, when you can, go to the 8th and final sheet of our site plan. As construction begins and is underway, we have 2 locations for possible stockpiling in the event that the site contractor or contractors need to stockpile earth or anything else that they're generating. In regards to those 2 temporary locations, they would move and be set up as they needed to be. Since I've drafted that, I have had conversations with our client and the site contractor, Archie Bailey, who has already worked on the property and installed the existing septic system in the front of the existing building. He plans on doing the same process that he did, in that as he generates materials, he wants to remove them off the site. The site's very tight. If he does have a stockpile, it's going to add for another hurdle, something to try to get around or through, or something that is just going to be a potential adversity for him. So his goal is to, again, as they are grading, as they're doing whatever they're doing, to take any materials and bring them off-site to a place where they can store it in a better fashion, more efficient for not only his workers, but for any adverse conditions that may happen. In regard to limiting potentials for adversity, we're promoting a temporary sediment barrier around the existing catch basin. The existing catch basin is essentially drywall. As water moves into it, it collects, it rises, and the ground absorbs it. We're going to try to utilize that for as long as we can and put in our separator at a time where it's going to be best for the site in the most efficient manner. That way, we're collecting sediments and retaining stormwater as we go, and not putting any inefficiencies on the construction end of things. That way, by the time this is all wrapped up, everything will be all functioning and ready to hand over to occupants. Go ahead.
Are you proposing silt fencing or filter?
Correct. I apologize if yes. So essentially, I have put silt fence around essentially the perimeter, not knowing exactly what stage certain things would be done at. As a preventative measure, we've applied silt fence. That's the best practice, in my opinion, to potentially curtail any erosion and or sediment buildup. It's one of the least effective and least expensive and most effective ways of doing it. As conditions occur, storm events, regular maintenance will occur. The project can't start based on our sequences until it's been permitted by a review of the silt fence, meaning until these erosion control measures are in, no construction will be allowed to commence. I omitted anything, Ed? Did I?
Think that's fairly comprehensive. I haven't talked much about the affordability plan, so I can just review that briefly now. As I said in the beginning, under 830G requires 30% of the units to be affordable and deed restricted for a period of 40 years. These will be rental units. So they're being proposed to be rental so that owners will continue to own the building and rent to tenants. Right now, using 2025 numbers, 2 of the units will be affordable for individuals making 60% of the median income. And that rent is approximately $930. And one of the units will be rented to individuals making 80% of the median income, and that's just $1,180 calculated. The numbers change every year; they change as the median income of the area and the state fluctuate. But those give you an example, and we provided the methodology in the affordability plan for that. I don't know if there's any questions on anything, but that's our
I
presentation.
do have a quick question or comment about your short statement of use about.
Yes.
I think there's typos or something missing, because you say that one of the 3 units will be affordable to individuals and families making 60%. It's not, it doesn't seem to jive with your long.
Yeah, two 60% units and one 80% unit.
So
For sure.
3 affordable units, 2 of which will be 60 at 60% and 1 at 80%.
And that's how the affordability plan reads, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the longer plan goes into it.
That's the one that gets filed on the land.
Good. I just wanted to make sure that this wouldn't be a problem at any point. Since it's a discrepancy. That sounds good.
Thank you.
I also wanted to add that there's a bus stop right in front of the house too, so I noticed that this, I think
It's a good location.
along Route 1.
Could you,
John Morgan.
could you review the parking calculation?
Sure. Parking calculation is based upon the mixed use nature of the site. So, the commercial use is based upon square footage. So that, I believe is 8 parking spaces. And then the residential units, there's a state statute, which basically says, for every 1-bedroom unit, the town can only require 1 parking space. So because there's 9 units, that's 9 plus 8 is 17. It's a little light, they would like a few visitor spaces. So that's why,
Use.
yeah, that's why they elected for the, to construct 20 above and beyond the minimum required.
Any other questions? Bennett,
Do you have any questions?
you're muted, Janet.
No questions. Thank you.
It two things that I would ask that you could address. One, you have a traffic letter from SLR,
Yes.
and the second would be the coastal site plan application.
Okay. In regards to the traffic from SLR, there was no impact negatively going to affect the property. Karen, has that been uploaded to
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It has been.
the traffic study that they performed?
Yes.
I think the CAM is pretty simple as well. This is in the CAM zone, but it's located immediately north of the railroad track. So there really aren't any sensitive coastal resources nearby, tidal wetlands, Long Island Sound, those kind of things. It's not in a flood zone, which is a positive from a CAM perspective. And, Tom described how the stormwater is capturing not only the pavement, but also the new building and even the existing building, which kind of goes above and beyond what we need to do, all exceeding the what's required under the statute. So I think from a CAM perspective, it's pretty straightforward. If I missed anything, you can fill it in.
Any chance it'll help the flooding under the train track?
Unfortunately, that's considered valve, and I think everyone's water is essentially contributing to that communal lake, unfortunately. But yes, I think Ed touched on all those things.
Would you like me to skip to the summary page?
That would be probably, yes, that would be fantastic.
Oh, of course, I hit the appendix. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was quite all right.
I went too far. There were counts.
Keep going. It's probably page 4.
I blew it. Here we go.
There it is, but
Get you.
Yeah, in regards to the summary and conclusion, as it states, the study was conducted to assess the traffic aspects of the proposed 8-unit multifamily residential development be located at 142 Boston Post Road in Madison, Connecticut. A study of traffic conditions was undertaken through a detailed field reconnaissance and data assembly effort. Traffic generated by the proposed development was estimated based on review of industry standard data. Future road traffic volumes were estimated with and without the development in place, and the capacity analysis of the future conditions were performed. It was found that no impacts to traffic, LOS,
Levels of service.
excellent, are expected to be caused by the proposed development. And that was, again, provided by a third-party engineering firm.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And we did receive, it was not a mandatory referral to DEP, although staff did send that up since it seems to be the practice of the commission. And so that checklist was returned from Deep's analyst as well. Again, indicating no adverse impact to the coastal streams.
Great. So on file. Thanks. Any other questions or comments from commissioners about from the public?
Yeah.
State your name and address.
Over here,
Sure, or where you are, as long as we can hear you.
whichever you prefer. My name is Michael Mullane. I live at 64 Middle Beach Road West. Nice presentation. It looks like it's very well thought out and designed. I have questions and I haven't looked close up at the plan, so they could be there. You mentioned the heat. You guys asked what the heat was. You said electricity. Is that like a high efficiency heat pump or is it regularly?
A heat pump.
Great. Dumpster location. You're gonna use the dumpster location? Again, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, it's kind of in between the two
You
buildings.
got it, good.
Excellent question.
Because it's an apartment building, it's just a crazy question. Would they do a community internet, like a Wi-Fi or something for everybody? Is that something? Just an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
consider it.
Mailboxes. My daughter lives in Colorado and they have these mailboxes that are really cool. Everybody's got a little mailbox and they have a series of larger boxes for parcels with keys on them. So if you get, a box, you just put it in the bigger box and put it in. Might be an idea that helps out.
Thank you.
Sidewalks. Are you doing any sidewalks east or west?
There is a sidewalk in front of the property now, and the internal sidewalks will be connecting to it. And you really can't go east.
Figured as much.
But hopefully, we hear that might be changing with the DOT project.
Okay. Last question. You said 980 was the 2 units, the rent?
Yes,
Possible.
yes,
And the 1 unit was 1180.
yes.
What's the market rate units? Take a wild guess.
I can't commit to that, so I can't.
That was it. I think it looks
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming. Any hands raised online?
No hands raised online. I did, when you had mentioned, I don't know, sidewalks perhaps, you have, a couple of amenities proposed on the site. There is still a pavilion for common area for residents and, a storage shed proposed. The storage shed is just for general site maintenance, correct, and materials. And then that common pavilion area is for residents of the units. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to, as Tom Wilcox had mentioned, we had a preliminary meeting of relevant staff, health department, land use, fire marshal as well. And at the time, the original submission did not have sprinklered building plans. So these plans did come in and it was the suggestion of the fire marshal, I think. And I don't know if specifically you designed to the code he had noted in the plan review. But since the plans came in yesterday, he has not had an opportunity to review them. So I don't have comments from
Fire marshal.
So that this is, since this is a site plan application, and even though the commission held a public hearing, it is a 65-day approval process. That 65-day expiration from the date of receipt is February 7th. So this is the meeting where either the commission closes the public hearing and makes a decision, or if you are looking for additional information, would need to request an extension from the applicant. This is a little bit different because it is an application under the Housing Appeals where the burden is on the commission to find, health, safety, reason why the application could not be approved, or why that could not be, concerns could not be satisfied through a condition or some type of modification. So that is an option for the commission if you wanted to move forward. It depends really on your comfort level. There could be opportunity for language to require verification of compliance with fire code, building code, prior to any issuance of a preliminary certificate of zoning compliance, as well as any other relevant condition that.
So there's the fire marshal and then also the utilities, the source.
The transformer.
Yeah. So there are a few things that are outstanding.
Typically, applications, we do not have final reviews from utility companies before the commissions take action. And there have been times where it just having a conversation with the utility companies, I think is a great start, but generally they're looking for land use approvals before they do their final reviews. DOT is often the same way as well. If there is a risk that if they require an easement to be located somewhere else or a utility to run somewhere else where it affects perhaps the location of the septic system or stormwater, and then that would result in some type of modification to the plan, then the commission can hold that right to, require any revisions to come back for any review if
Yeah.
necessary. And we usually have that language in our
I think it's
resolutions.
the fire marshal's decision is more important than, especially with health and safety. And there was a change in design, I think, too, where there was an exterior staircase that was removed because they're putting in sprinklers. So, I think we want to make sure that that's all going to work and be approved. So I kind of am leaning to ask if we could maybe have an extension to make sure everything is all set.
Carol, can we just put in wording?
Right condition?
Fire condition.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, we can't get a building permit without the fire marshal signing off anyway.
What does everyone else say?
We should the fire marshal have lost it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and close the public hearing, move to deliberations, which we're already kind of having, and structure an approval.
You can't receive new information
Right.
Right.
after a public hearing is closed. So if you were gonna close the public hearing, you would, yes, you can, well, you still would need an
Which is why I'm
extension
kind of
to make your decision.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Because this is your meeting. I can provide you with some draft language if you're interested in looking at that at tonight's meeting. Otherwise, if you're looking for time to structure more time to structure a resolution or to hear directly from the fire marshal, then that would require a request for an extension.
Extension, which is where I'm kind of leaning.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's really your
In case
comfort
we don't
level.
get it and
Yeah,
it changes.
I want to see that transformer issue nailed down what it's actually going to be.
But would we say no to this project because of a telephone pole or an underground?
I don't think it's as
Maybe
simple
not
as
that, but the fire marshal and the sprinkler system is important for health and safety.
With you in the fire,
Yeah.
on the fire suppression, but unless I misunderstood, we can put wording in the approval that says it has to meet the
Contingent,
requirements of the fire.
Yes, the transformer location you may not have ironed out for some time.
right.
So that, and that really is at the mercy of Eversource.
So
My suspicion is that we really don't want more information on fire suppression. What we really want is the okay or disapproval from fire marshal. Am I right on that?
That's
So
what
that's
I
why
guess
I would urge us to approve this contingent on the fire marshal.
I guess I'm thinking worst case scenario,
Okay.
that he doesn't approve it and then you have to go back to the drawing board with it and come back with a new design. So
And the
Keep
same
it
thing could
open.
happen with the transformer. That could happen.
So we can get new information and new designs presented if necessary. I don't, it's,
It feels foggy to me.
So it is often that you would have like an engineer design and in conversations that, you know, roughly a pole would go here or a transformer, you know, in that front property line. I don't know that the applicant will be able to, within even your statutory clock, be able to give you a final okay from Eversource as to the exact location of the transformer.
yeah, the data
And
is,
that really, we don't
Okay.
regulate transformers. They really are
Yeah, we won't be able
beyond
to
our
provide.
purview.
My concern is not that the transformer per se, is that if they require that you put it someplace that causes everything else to have to change.
Then that would require.
I think we're very confident that it's going to be hugging that eastern property line. That has already basically been reviewed by Eversource and said, that's it. That's where it's going to be. Whether we can get it underground to a transformer deeper in site, or it has to go to the pole to a transformer right on the road is the only question. So that's the, but you know, we're not gonna have an answer before this. Before the commission approves everything, in my experience.
Was the transformer a fire marshal issue?
No, no.
No.
sprinklers and stuff.
Yeah,
No.
the fire marshal issues
Just
are,
the sprinkler.
it's sprinklers and egress. You know, those are going
Right.
to be the fire
Right.
marshal issues. And we, during the plan review meeting, we reviewed those issues with him.
Correct.
And hence the redesign of the plan was actually a direct result of that.
Of his comment of,
So,
we were allowed to remove that secondary means of egress as
Correct.
compliance. The internal egress was compliant, so long as fire suppression was provided.
Yeah, sprinklers were provided.
And we met those with these plans.
So I
You just got that proposal yesterday? Is
Yes.
that the idea?
Correct.
John, what are your thoughts about an extension, asking for an extension versus condition?
I think we should do it conditional to approval from the fire marshal, right? Because so we're limited to health and safety issues. The health issues we've checked off. The safety issue is fire marshal ultimately saying that it meets his standards.
Right.
Or standards. So that's where we should go in order to move this along, I think.
then I think we should also do something conditional about the transformer, that it's not, well, it's another alternative, or some other aspect of that we hadn't considered. That it has to be understood that it's the same applies for further changes to the current design proposed would be necessarily impacted. The other question I had about the transformer is how are you going to limit access to it? Is there going to be a fence around it or a cage around the transformer?
There's no provision, that we're proposing. If we took a walk around town, we could walk up to pretty much anyone's transformer. If we go to a subdivision, standard subdivisions, are routinely, just off curb on a concrete pedestal, and you can literally touch the transformer.
Doing boxes.
I'm thinking of the Bradley.
Kids sit on the bus stops.
If I may be so, you know, frank and say it is an unfortunate eyesore. They don't, in Eversource, they don't promote or advertise or want, let's say, plantings, bollards. I would suggest at a minimum on closest to our driveway in the event that any traffic maneuvering or pulling out, adds an extra layer of safety potential, especially in the cold weather. Get some snow embankment, someone's backing up. You know, there's a bollard there to protect that transformer. That's what I would suggest.
It's not in the design.
Currently, no, because I would be essentially, I wouldn't know where to throw the dart on at the moment. I've got a good idea of where that dart's gonna land. But I don't know the size of the transformer, given the load calculations. But we do have at least earned information. Thank you.
Actually, I keep thinking about the power line solution option and whatnot. And is there a plan in place, or are there concerns or questions? I don't know what to ask. All I can think about is in the event of a storm, I mean, we live on the shoreline, trees go down all the time. Is there a concern about that? 'Cause
Correct.
I liked hearing about the preference was for all of the underground, and if there was like, then you've got an apartment block with no power.
I
If the tree
politely
comes down on the line.
pressed Eversource in that regard. And I got a very polite comment on email back. Because at first they said that DOT doesn't want Eversource doing underground. To which I called DOT and I spoke to DOT, and they welcomed all plans and applications. DOT does not mind so long as it doesn't encroach on some of the things that they already have in place. As long as there is a licensed, liable party that is able to do the underground work, and DOT sees the plans and the application, we can drive down the streets and we can see these already. You are allowed to dig. Eversource does not want to dig from their pole that they already own and have rights to across the earth to the property line. And that basically was the response, that our clients can hire their own Eversource approved contractor. So that contractor can then pull a permit with Department of Transportation to dig a line. That way Eversource could then run power down from their pole through that pipe to their transformer. It's an unfortunate series of events that we're trying our best to get around in an appropriate professional manner, so we don't have to do a poll. I know that our clients are trying to find a resource who is licensed in the state of Connecticut, has the appropriate bonding, not only for the Department of Transportation, but also is on the list for Eversource. And it's an added layer of time and expense that we, since our conversation, that things are in motion the best that we can. It's just something that we don't have an approval for yet. At minimum, transformer is going to be a definite, because of the power capability of that pole. The energy will come down that pole, either to another pole or specifically to a transformer. That transformer will regulate that power supply, turn it up so it can get to the 8 units adequately. If that is sufficient.
All right, so we need to decide if we're going to close the public hearing and deliberate an approval with conditions. Sound
That's what
good?
I'm for. That's what I'm for, Carol.
I have building consensus for that. Yes.
I scratched out 2 conditions. One is, there's always legal documents that need to be approved. So the affordability plan and other legal documents be reviewed and approved by legal counsel. And then, the development meets all building and fire codes as verified by the fire marshal and the building official. So,
I would like to add the idea of the bollards.
okay. One bollard adjacent to the
2 at minimum, in my opinion.
yeah,
Two.
2 bollards.
Angle of approach.
Yes.
And in separation distance, in that even a compact vehicle, if you, I'm gonna use pointer, this is the transformer. One bollard's nice, but you can hit on either side. If a bollard is stationed here, approximately here, then even a compact car
Can't get through.
can't, by angle of approach, hit. Yes, someone unfortunately could jump the curb and do things of adverse, but they could also hit the pole that is in the right of way too as well.
Yes.
Let's make the effort.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds good. So,
I have-
motion to close the public hearing. Deliberations.
So
I can,
Sorry, but Aaron, you're with us?
yes, that was Bob O'Connor, yes.
Yeah. And
Also,
Second.
we've got lots of seconds.
we got a third.
We got-
And I think we're all in agreement that
Gina?
we approve the project. It
No,
sounds
John.
good. Done a ton of work. I mean.
Really shows, guys.
Yeah, really thorough.
I can pull up a draft
Oh,
for
good.
you.
Okay, Erin, if you look around,
Yeah.
the two, you could maybe edit and get us to a place where we're good.
Well, there's no more public or applicant participation, so this is us.
Just it,
But we got the wording.
yeah, we got the.
We did get. the-
So I.
Yeah.
Yes, that was during the public comment.
Yes.
So I began some bones here for the commission, and I can
That's fine.
zoom in here for you, if you can't read this. The beginning is your standard language of approval. It's referencing the application description as well as the revised dates of the plans. I have noted here the civil plans designed, revised to February 3rd, sheet C1 through C8. Also, the design drawings for the building that are from Spindrift Design that you reviewed today and looked at. Those are dated 2/1/2026. I'm also referencing the photometric plan that was pulled up, and then listing the following conditions.
One is fine.
Speaking to the language, can you, number one was because the applicant is proposing a sprinklered multifamily building, therefore shall provide evidence of compliance with the Connecticut Building and Fire Codes prior to the issuance of a preliminary certificate of zoning compliance. The second was actually a note that I saw in the traffic was to maintain sightlines from the driveway, maintenance of those sightlines. And in doing so, if there were any requirements for encroachment permits with DOT, that the applicant be responsible for those. Some of these are our standard language for site plan approvals. ZEO notification at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated work. Number 4, the ENS controls. This also assists in the coastal site plan approval. And the fifth, the subsurface stormwater system shall be designed in accordance with the current Connecticut Stormwater Manual, which the applicant has confirmed during the hearing, and also inspected by the design engineer during construction to verify consistency with the approved plans. That again is another one of your standard conditions. And then often the as-built survey, actually, I would recommend changing this, that a final, an as-built survey, including the stormwater system components, shall be provided. To the commission with, typically that goes to the zoning enforcement officer prior to the issuance of a final zoning compliance. Also includes written verification from the licensed engineer that the system was constructed in accordance with the approved design plans. I did note that the lighting shall be dark sky friendly, full cutoff, which it is proposed, and lighting temperature should not exceed 3,000.
I didn't see in your drawings that it said 3,000 K.
That the lumens were in, there are details. This is typically a recommendation that comes from ACA when you receive site plans, and typically is included in all of your
Gosh, that should be there
site
by
plan
default.
approvals. Yes,
Can be.
you have used this, and it is pretty standard. Most all of these LEDs now have a range of 3 settings, 3,000
that's
to
correct.
4,000 for the lighting, and they're all adjustable. So they just set them to that darker, or that more yellow color, exactly. And then this was the note that the applicant had made, Attorney Casella, that the affordability plan be reviewed by town council prior to filing on the land records. That is standard. Even if it's not, we tend to have that final review This language, in the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, you receive the right, reserve the right to review the changes, and may require modification to the approval. So that speaks to, some of these outside agencies
fire
like
marshal.
Connecticut Water
Yeah.
or Eversource.
Yeah.
If they, throw a wrench in the proposal and say that something has to now go on the opposite side. And then this language, with these above referenced conditions, the proposal is consistent with applicable goals and policies in the Coastal Act. And no anticipated impacts are expected. And then lastly, is to include an effective date, which would fall after the notice of action in the newspaper.
Or does the number 8 need to say review and approved by town council or just reviewed?
Ultimately, the attorneys would provide any recommendations for commenting. How would you like to?
Want to add
Word
it and
that.
approved?
It's approved.
Okay. It's not get fancy. I did read through the affordability plan and it's pretty boilerplate.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
At least all the numbers and the calculations and everything are correct. As far, so, I don't have a printed copy, but you're welcome to motion and
Yeah, could we have a motion
Um,
to approve as per the draft?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
thank you, Zen. Any further discussion?
Made it.
All in favor?
Great.
Janet too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
John Zeus a second.
I second, yes.
Thank you, John.
All right, next on our agenda, we have a continuation of the public hearing, which was open our last meeting, January 15, 2026. This is number 25-28, Bushnell Lincoln, map 27, lot 87-3, zone R2, owner applicant Linda Tass. Re-subdivision application to legalize division of property from 1957. I think it's the same attorney.
Yes, it is.
The same attorney. Does anybody need a break?
Thank you, Jess.
I'm fine. Great.
You need water?
Yeah, I drank what I had. All right, good evening again, Ed Casella representing this application for subdivision. We spent a lot of time last month, I guess it was at this point, reviewing this. Aaron and others did some digging and found a few things, so I have a few additional opinions I would like to provide regarding this application. So, together a little letter
Thank you.
that kind of outlines a couple of interesting things.
Would you,
Dated today.
Dated today.
I can give some context, I guess, for Carol,
Yeah.
if you'd like to give, oh, it's quiet.
Sorry, can you guys go over that for me or synopsize? or something?
We'll go through it.
Thank
So-
you.
We kept the public hearing open because I felt that we had a lot of information coming to us about a relatively complicated and historic division of a lot.
That's correct.
And so I wanted a chance to go back to our current regulations. I also took the opportunity to go back to the 1950s and 1960s regulations to see what was in effect at the time of the division. So I think we haven't had our own counsel weigh in on this, but I think it's worth pursuing further. What were the regulations at the time of the division?
So Carol, the email that Carol had sent to me was a request to review the historic regulations, which were small little paper booklets. However, I have been able to scan them and can pull them up for the meeting. I was able to scan those today.
Oh, great.
Um,
I had a chance to look at one that's dated April 10th, 1953.
I have, yes.
And then a second one that was 1953 subdivision regulations updated May 17th, 1962.
Yes.
For those.
So those that was exactly what you wrote in your email to me, asking for me to look at the definition of a subdivision as at the time of the filing of map 908, not 980. And then the regulation at the time of 1962, because there was a span of maps filed from 53-ish
54 to
to
66.
66.
Yeah.
And so I did read your email. I pulled the regulations out. I did have a conversation with our town council, Carrie Olson, yesterday on that with your question, and then forwarded your questions about the regulations, gave them to Attorney Casella to be prepared to discuss and have some response to that for this evening's meeting. I have no legal opinions. No, the commission has not asked for any opinions from council or anything like that at this point. And again, this letter from Attorney Casella came in this evening as, his review of those definitions. But there are differences between the
Two versions.
the two definitions.
Yeah.
And I think the 66 definition is similar to our current subdivision.
Closer,
But
yeah.
the question was raised, does the language of provisions for street or streets affect
This division.
yes, whether or not there was an assumption that a subdivision was required,
Right.
as you read under our current
Well,
statute,
and I think
our current regulation.
something that I wondered at our last meeting was you have this parcel that was divided into 4, 5 lots really, and 3 of those have houses on them.
Already.
And,
Yes.
and did soon after the maps and the deeds were filed, I believe the houses were built without having to go before planning and zoning at the time, as far as we know. So they got building permits. So how is it that that could have happened, but it's still being called by some people an illegal subdivision? And this, I think, helped me understand it a little bit better to go back to those 1950s and 1960s regulations. So maybe you'd like to speak to that too.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
Clarify it
I'm
further.
gonna stay seated if that's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I make 2 conclusions or 2 points in this letter that I can review. I know Janet doesn't have a copy of it, so just to bring you back some of the facts, because dates have been tossed around. The operative date in division that we're talking about occurred in 1957, where the large piece to the south was divided from this parcel, the 1 acre piece that's kind of on the corner of what used to be known as Hamilton is now known as Bushnell. And the first point is, based upon the regulations that were in effect in 1957, which is the 1953 version, the definition of subdivision, I don't know if you want to pull it up, Aaron. Basically said subdivision is defined as a tract or parcel of land. Subdivision is defined as the division of a tract or parcel of land into 3 or more lots in such manner as to require the provision of a street or streets, whether immediate or in the future, for the purpose of sale or building development, and shall include re-subdivision, and et cetera. So that it's an interesting definition because it seems to say subdivision has to not only include the division of land into 3 or more lots, but there also must be the providing of a street or streets. And in 1957, when you look at map 908, Hamilton Drive was already there. It was already in effect. It was frankly in effect during the original period. So when this division took place, there was no provision, there was no providing of a street or streets. It was already in existence. So even though this was the third lot, it's, the subdivision regulations seem to say it's not a subdivision, it's just approved under zoning. The language becomes a little clearer when you look at the 1961 version of the regs, which is, if you put through, I put these in here. And this is kind of the definition of subdivision that's very similar. I didn't compare it exactly, but looks pretty similar to what we have now, which just says, means the division of a tract or parcel of land into 3 or more parts for the purpose, whether immediate or future, of sale or building development. And it doesn't say 3 or more lots with the providing of street or streets. So we're in the 1957 when this original division took place. Under the old definition of subdivision, which I think can be argued doesn't apply. So this division, as long as it met zoning at that point in time, is a legal division of land. So that's the first point. The second point is, and I misspoke last meeting, so I wanted to clarify it. There actually is a statute that does validate, is the operative term, illegal divisions of land when buildings and structures are built on them. So 30 and 32 Bushnell Lane, which are immediately south, the old homestead, and then the second parcel, those were divided in 1966. So interestingly enough, they were divided after the definition change, so they don't get the benefit of the argument that I'm making
About the street.
about the streets. But there's a general statute, section 8-26H, which basically says that no use or occupancy or presence of a building or structure erected on a lot shown on a filed or recorded map or plan of subdivision. So it could be just a general map like we have here, or a plan of subdivision, shall be deemed illegal or invalid because the lots were not shown on a plan approved by the subdivision. Excuse me, sorry, butchered that sentence badly. Shall be deemed illegal or invalid because the lot or lots on which any building or structure is located are not shown on an approved plan of subdivision. So if you did a division back in the day, and this was a statutory change after a court had determined that a building that was on a parcel that was illegally, quote unquote, divided, was an illegal subdivision. So the legislature took it among themselves to say, no. If you got a piece of land and you built a house on it, the town can't come back and say that's, or neighbors can't come back and say that's an illegal subdivision. It's deemed to be validated. So
By being in place.
because there's a structure, right? So that helps the other two. Because it doesn't help me, doesn't help the lot that we're trying to create, but it helps the other two. But it makes an interesting point, which is, one of the things we argued here when we were trying to get this lot approved was, this is the lot we want you to approve. And if those lots are already legal under the statute, that's what you're doing, right? You're basically just saying this lot is an approved building lot. And you have the authority under 826, which is kind of your primary authority, to approve plans, even if they've already been made, even if the map's already been filed, even if it's already been done. The statutory language is in there for this commission to be able to do that. So, a couple of different angles. My preference would be to have the commission approve it, so there's less ambiguity regarding the definition of subdivision. And I believe you have the authority to do that.
Ed, can I just ask a question? 'Cause I'm sorry, because I'm kind of, out of this, but it sounds like 30 and 32 are legal according to this.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's my conclusion.
Yeah.
they've been validated is the
Right.
approved term. So they are not to be deemed illegal
Right.
because the statute, says, hey, look, there's a house there, so you're okay.
Yep. Okay.
And that's only because there was a building permit
Correct.
approved to make this
And built.
by the town to make,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. So, that, is good in my opinion. The other point we spent a lot of time talking about, last meeting was open space. So back to 1953, if we want to take a look at those regulations, there is a provision for open space. It's not nearly, by the way, the 27 pages include zoning and subdivision.
Right.
If we could only have that now, I wouldn't have a job probably.
We're starting a rewrite. Maybe they're supposed to back up.
You can get it down.
The 53 also had summer colony district still.
That's right.
It's an historic document.
Yeah.
So the only mention of open space is on page 23, provisions for open spaces for use as parks or playgrounds should be considered by the subdivider and may be required by the commission. So it's similar, it's actually less than what you have now because in this case, there's no room for a park or playground. There wasn't in 1953. There isn't now. And that's why we're asking for the waiver.
And there's no evidence of the commission asking.
Correct.
Well, that's not true. I mean, there's an open spot now. It's not a building lot, right? That's only half an acre, so.
That's true.
There is a buffer between the Hamilton Street property and the other properties.
Yeah.
In that small unbuildable lot.
Yeah, and the other thing I have to offer, if the commission doesn't grant the waiver and requires open space, the property owner is willing to give a conservation easement over the half acre. So that there's no ambiguity in the future that it can be.
Oh, they own that half acre.
Correct.
That small lot.
Lot 87-2,
Right.
the one to the south.
It's,
So,
Can you pull up the map again, just so I can kind of frame of reference for the
yep, absolutely.
conversation?
Yes, just bear with me 1 second. It's in your title history.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the subject properties here. And these are 30 and 32. And this is the property 87-2, which is 0.6 acre. That doesn't meet today's zoning regulations, doesn't get the benefit of any of the grandfathering or validating. So is not a legal building lot, although it's been taxed as one. And then there's another piece, which is down on the south, which was the first piece that went out. So
But you're proposing to make that 87-2
subject to a non-development conservation easement.
So then the town doesn't get tax revenue from that lot anymore? Is that true?
Probably wouldn't anyway, as of the appeal date of February 20th, but
Okay.
it was me.
One thing I wanted to note for the commission as well. So I had looked, trying to look for some history of when these permits were pulled to see if there were zoning compliance, things like that, any variances on land, some back in the 50s. Certificates of variance weren't required to be filed on the land record, so I did take some time to look through the minute books for ZBA and P&Z to see if this has come up before or during that time. And I looked under all of the property names that were referenced in these maps, that were provided both by some of the abutters as well as Attorney Casella. I did not find anything. There were some things from Arthur Williams, but apparently he owned the Dolly Madison as well back then, which I didn't know. So there were some things in, but nothing regarding this parcel. I did then look through our historic land use department records, commission approvals, applications to either ZBA or Planning and Zoning Commission. I did find one that was made for this subject parcel 87-3 in 2018. It was an application made to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which was withdrawn, but it was to permit this building lot without the required frontage. And the application materials included a reference to another property on Bushnell Lane that had sought and obtained a variance to permit a building lot without required frontage. And this subject application in 2018 was withdrawn. And the note in the file said that the applicant was going to have a different attorney reapply. As you, I think you've read, I think from the Birnbaums and Jessica Littell's history, there was correspondence from an attorney in 2018, and that's and then the subsequent Planning and Zoning Commission discussions, and then there was the modification
amendment.
to the regulations about frontage.
In 2009.
So that application never came back to ZBA. Okay, but I
That
did,
was confusing as well.
I
And also
did-
it was called Hamilton Drive in one document or in the discussion, I think.
yes, so I
It's still
did,
called Hamilton. And I thought, why are they worrying about the southern part when in fact Bushnell Lane was Hamilton Drive?
it did. Actually, 30 Bushnell historically has land use records and microfiche as 836B. Boston Post Road, I believe. So some of these actually had Boston Post Road addresses
Because of the
because of that driveway, that
private road.
drive up.
Actual.
So the basis, I did go back and pull the other variance application for Bushnell. And it was for this lot here, this number 7 Bushnell Lane, and it was an application from the Birnbaums, Gerald Birnbaum and Jessica Littell as co-trustees of a trust. And the application was to ZBA. It was in May of 2004, and it was to legalize this lot as a building lot. And the application materials, the hardship that was referenced for that application noted that the lot was created in the early 1980s and speaks to a history of the town acting in accordance with an opinion from its council at the time, routinely approved serial lot divisions, which resulted in the creation of 3 or more lots out of a single parcel in apparent conflict with 8-25, which are the subdivision statutes. The applicants or their predecessors entitled justifiably relied on the then current practice in town and divided the property as part of an overall estate planning process. It would be singularly unfair for the town to now reverse its earlier position to the possible detriment of the applicants. And looking at the minutes from that meeting, there were neighbors attending, residents of Bushnell Lane, including the property owner, Arthur Williams here, and all in support of legalizing that open parcel as a building lot, that they all, it's a long driveway servicing, 12 acres of land roughly. And the commission ultimately, or the board, excuse me, this was ZBA, they did ultimately approve this lot as a building lot without frontage. It never went through a subdivision process, but I believe that was the legal argument that Ms. Dyer was looking to make prior to the
next step.
zoning regulations being amended regarding the frontage. So there, I think the more we look into some of the historic records in this area, you can see that there were divisions made in this neighborhood and that may not have had subdivision approval. Some of them were legalized by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Attorney Casella is now looking at the planning statutes to legalize this lot as it existed on those maps. But it's a very interesting, unusual history in this area.
So what year was that you're referring to?
2004, it was 20 years ago.
All right, so question, so 2019, your client, right, needs to go through planning and zoning commission to change the regulations in order for it to be possibly a building lot.
Correct.
At that point, she received notice that she needed to get subdivision approval too, correct?
That's my understanding,
Right.
yeah.
And it didn't. So the question is why? Why is it coming up now?
Well, because it's for sale.
Well, but for sale, it's for sale before it came to us.
I-
though. So
yeah.
That's why this is kind of.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think the answer to that question is, when the regulations changed, and again, I don't know what happened, COVID, delayed, I wasn't involved in. She had hired the second, 2018 was ZBA, she hired the second lawyer in 2019. Bertram Moses, the former counsel, came out with their opinion that said that was kind of the first time, from what I can tell, there was an opinion that said there was an illegal subdivision. So before that, the ZBA application was only because it didn't have frontage on a public road.
Right.
That was the known issue. And again, I'm reviewing records, so I don't really know what's in these folks' heads, but that was the known issue. And then the predecessor, or I think it was the current owner's mother, made the argument that it should be a legal lot because it's been grandfathered in, et cetera, and this was the practice. And the town council said no. And that was in 2019. The commission then amended the regs to allow so that this now complies with zoning, and here we are. I don't know what's happened over the last 5 years.
But, yeah, but as you say, who knows what they're thinking? I mean,
Yeah.
the appearance though is that there was this tradition going back, and they said, hey, this might be the new rule, but we don't have to comply with that new rule. I mean, that's the appearance, just so somebody listened to all the testimony.
Yeah,
And here we are now, only because they listed it for sale, neighbors found out about it, raised the issue, got a lawyer, right? So now this old 5766 is almost irrelevant. Not completely.
yeah.
I mean, the appearance here is that they're trying to skirt the rules.
Ooh,
The landowner,
when?
when they listed the property for sale, not jumping or going through the process, well, again, subdivision.
Yeah, and we talked.
And going through with the fee in lieu of issue, right? I mean, the way they're coming at it is kind of hard about taxes and fee in lieu. It gives the appearance that that's a real sticking point for them.
Yeah, well, two things. It was listed for sale, and as part of the process, there was discussions with zoning, and that's what led us to this point. Okay,
Yes, but I mean, the actual listing says subject to approvals,
yeah,
right? Which an ordinary person would say, well, there's septic, there's other things, subdivision. I wouldn't even think of that.
but then you go to the town, you say, what permits do I need? And they tell you. So, and
Well, it sounds like too from some of the correspondence, right? Yesterday's letter.
yeah,
Is that there was some, I don't know, misunderstanding, miscommunication between town, developer, property owner, but still, go back to 2019, the landowner had the sophistication to go through the process to change the regulations and then pay property taxes out as a lot, but decided for whatever reason, no, we're not gonna ask for subdivision approval.
yeah.
We don't know why.
I can clarify that it was the Planning and Zoning Commission who initiated the amendment. It was not the property owner as an applicant. Excuse me, the commission.
There was an initial discussion,
Yeah,
and then months later, there was the planning.
well, the reason it was an issue was because this landowner wanted it to be an issue, no? It just didn't come out of the blue.
I wasn't there. I can't speculate on the conversations with,
Well, this landowner was there, right?
it directly affects this property. It affects other properties.
Right.
We have approved other
It's a
subdivisions
general text.
on private roads
Right.
since then.
But
You know, as far as, but I don't.
In the minutes though.
Well, I think they were present, at least during the discussion. I don't know at the public, at the act, there was a meeting to discuss the property that predated the amendment.
I think the attorney was there.
I don't-
Yeah.
I don't have the minutes, from that meeting at the top right now. I mean, we can get them of who was at that, text amendment
Right.
public hearing or who spoke.
Reminder to me of the history of the owner, how we got to the owner of the property today, so I can trace that in my head.
Yeah, sure. My understanding is Arthur Williams' wife was Carolyn Dyer, who was the owner back during the 2018 and 2019 time period. And now it's in her trust, and her daughter Linda Fast is the trustee.
So
So
she inherited the property.
yeah, she's the trustee.
And she's the one that wants to.
Correct.
She's the applicant.
She's the applicant. That's correct. I don't know that. Yeah, she's the applicant. She's the trustee who owns the property.
And your stepmom, I only know the
Stepmom.
stepmom. They're all owned by the own.
I mean, I think this is helpful because to me, it was, after the last meeting, it was a total conundrum. I couldn't figure out what was what was legal, what was illegal, what was a subdivision. What was another thing I came across is references to re-subdivisions can be changes in maps of approved or recorded maps, I think, as well. So going back to the fact that this in the 50s and 60s was a division of property that was recorded in the town records and building permits were issued. And then, so I think in my head anyway, I could kind of think, well, okay, why are we calling it a re-subdivision? I mean, I'd rather it would just be called a redivision or something, but I think there is legal language that makes sense. Just to be more of a.
Yeah, and I just want to address the, I didn't talk about the taxes, after you made the comment. That was the, part of the request for the waiver is they have been paying taxes on this as a building lot. It hasn't been a building lot. Whether or not another building permit could have slipped through and gotten a house built on it, that if it was 15 years before, that probably would have happened.
Well, and on
Right.
the Hamilton Street property,
Right.
the original house was torn down and in 2020, another house was built. It seemed to be an issue maybe for other reasons why, how it was
Yeah.
the first cut, and, you know.
And so
Nobody stopped.
the purpose of the taxes was to make a statement that they've been paying taxes not only on this piece, 87.3, but on 87.2, which is not a building lot, for many, many years. $50,000 over the past 5 years, whatever the letter says. So could that be a basis for the commission waiving open space? This is in your discretion. They've also offered conservation easement over the other piece. So we're putting those things on the table for your consideration, if you decide to approve this. And I think it makes sense to come back to what the request is basically to say this 1 acre piece of land that has frontage on a private street can be used as a building lot. That's what we're asking the commission to do through the process. And it's a convoluted process and it's a very convoluted history and it's murky at best. But coming here today, we're hoping the commission and, even to some extent, the neighbors look at the big picture and say, okay, you have an acre that meets the regulations, the building's gonna meet the setbacks, everything's gonna be compliant. And all they want to do is put a house on the property. So that's what we're here for.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Janet, you okay with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
it's still, the public hearing is still open, so we can still entertain
The hearing
comments.
is open. Yes, you can entertain comments on new information. You can seek an opinion or, you know, some legal opinion on Attorney Casella's letter from your counsel. To do so, you would need to request an extension from Attorney Casella. You could read this and not require, not ask for a legal opinion and make a decision amongst yourselves.
Might not need
The
an
choice is
extension.
yours.
It opened on the 15th and the next meeting the
Oh,
9th.
it's only been two
Yeah, we
weeks.
just opened it.
I thought it was a month.
So you-
That was
I
one
don't
forty-two.
know that you need an extension.
Thank you. You're right. It's 35 days.
In that case, I think since we just got this tonight, it would be great to have a chance to read through it.
I agree.
Digest it.
And obviously this, here,
Yes.
So maybe
I'd like to hear-
opportunity.
hear from
Sure,
some
sure.
members.
As well.
don't forget about them.
And will this will be filed?
This is uploaded into Attorney Casella uploaded this evening directly as the applicant onto the website.
Good timing.
As we
Um,
So who would provide us with legal counsel to read this as council members? Like,
Do we
I'm
need
not a
motion?
lawyer, so.
No, you have you have an attorney.
Okay.
Town has counsel. It's
would like-
Harris Beach Kalina. And Sari Olson is your attorney. You can refer the letter to her and ask for some comments. You could see if she could attend the next meeting. You can ask all of the above.
Yes.
You can also, at this point, because the hearing is open, you can ask for comments from the public regarding this. If anybody wants to raise any other questions that could be addressed during for the continuation to the next
And by
meeting.
keeping it open, it also gives everyone else a chance to read this.
That's the point.
Yeah. And come back to the next meeting.
I think we should definitely involve Carrie.
Yeah, I agree.
Made a motion?
Do we need a motion,
You
Erin?
would need a motion to continue the hearing until February
Do you want to
19th.
see if anybody from the public wants to speak tonight while they're here?
I haven't seen any hands raised, but does anybody else want to say anything?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'm Keith Ainsworth. I represent the 30 Bushmill Lane owners. First I'm seeing of this is tonight, so I don't have the benefit of having the chance to really examine it, but I will say the validation statute 8-26H talks about use and occupancy or the presence of a building or structure erected on. It doesn't validate the subdivision itself. It's a validation of a structure, which is consistent with, there's a statute that was passed some years ago that said if you've got a structure that violates setbacks and it's been there for 3 years, you can't enforce against that person. Because the town was snoozing on its rights. Similarly, this law does the same thing, which says you've got a house that town can't blindside you and declare your house that you built that exists illegally. I would take issue with the characterization that it validates the subdivision of the lots themselves, regardless of it. I'll stop there on that particular place. And while the commission does have authority to approve the subdivision, as it says, including subdivisions or re-subdivisions made in violation of the section, it doesn't mean that you have to. And obviously, it's my client's position and some of the neighbor's position that it shouldn't be exercised. As I said in the last meeting, it's an additional house, takes up open space, a little more crowding in the neighborhood. And from their perspective, the actions that were taken in the past were not legal. They're coming here now to say, we'd like it to be legal at the very last minute. So, Oh, and then one point about the taxes. I just don't think that the payment of taxes is a valid reason to do anything. It's you can take in a tax appeal, you change that. The payment of taxes we all pay as a matter of course for whatever the value of our property is. But it doesn't justify a change in any kind of zoning. Really. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
There's no one online, Madam Chair.
I was just gonna say one thing, just as you.
Could you identify yourself?
I'm a syringe. No, Corey. And to John's point, there has been what seems like a very manipulative and deceptive perspective from this seller. They were offered money when the Keelers were purchasing this property 10 years ago and were turned down and offered quite a bit of money. I think that they've been waiting for their payday. I think when they figured out that they weren't necessarily they didn't have the right property or they didn't have the right rules, they went in and started a campaign in which they could start paying taxes 5 years ago after they had trouble. And I think they started mapping out this process. They did put it on the market well over a year ago. We saw it at that point and wrote in. And that was the first time that the neighbors noticed that they were trying to sell the property. So this isn't something that just like kind of happened. This has been a process with them. They've been sort of plotting and planning on how to do it. And I do agree. We wrote to Aaron about a year and a half ago when we first saw it. Had we not written it, this whole process, I don't think would be taking place. I think that they would just build it. They came to us over a year ago with their blasting team, shooting photos of our homes, interior and exterior, to make sure that they could, protect, anything they decided to blast. So they had all this intent of doing this work. And only because we came here, and lawyers came here with their neighbors, did something actually come to fruition.
Thanks.
I'll just add one more thing. Christina Camarillo, 46 Hamilton Drive. It came up that there was an initial application for this property in 2019. And I just want to add that the property was also listed in 2019. And there was a sale transaction that took place. And that application occurred after the property did not sell without a subdivision. Now, as to why they removed it and didn't proceed, they were always planning to sell it. It was the same seller at the same time. But to Lisa's point, this has been a really long process where they've been trying to skirt legal use of that property.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to know, I will upload, since I scanned the historic regulations today, I will upload those into the application document so that they're
Everyone can
available
see it.
for
That's great.
everybody to see those. So I'll do that first thing in the morning,
Great, thank you.
if you're looking for them.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I mean, late nights for you. I don't know how you find the time to do this.
I think we need a motion then.
I'll make a motion,
Do we need
a motion to keep the public hearing open for 2528 Bushnell Lane.
Yes, that's right.
I'm so sorry, I wanted to get the question before I made the motion. Does the motion need to include we want
We can
council?
discuss it. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Does the motion need to include we want council to look at this? And then I had a question around, just because I'm curious and I want to understand, because we keep talking about it. What's the tax differential that we're talking about? I mean, is it $1,000 or is it $1 million?
Between a parcel, like not a building lot,
There's been talk of they've been paying taxes as if it was a building lot, and then what's the difference if it wasn't a building lot? Is it material or not? I don't know.
can ask the applicant to pull that information.
Thank you. Okay, so we haven't gotten a second yet.
Second.
And we can have further discussion before we vote. Anybody further discussion?
Getting the lawyer involved, do we need, how do we?
You can just ask, you're on the record, I can
Reach out.
Reach out.
reach out to her
We don't need a
and,
motion for that, it's just a, please reach out.
yes, and is there any, I mean, you can direct me clearly what you're looking for. You'd like her to review Attorney
Response to
Castella's
this, yeah.
letter as it, she is familiar with the two different definitions. I briefly spoke to her on that. I did not get a legal opinion from her ahead of this meeting, other than our conversation to, share this information and pitch it to the applicant.
So
We get a response.
did we want to note to the, because I wrote down what I was questioning is, I'd like her opinion on the statute 8-26H. And what impact does that have on the current 30 and 32, the two houses lots and the subdivision qualification? Does it nullify the legalization of the
Which some of those issues are
Not-
raised.
Yes,
Right.
there's a lot of language in here that I would like to take a look at and untangle with.
Yeah.
And then the regulations of the statute.
I agree.
Okay, so
She made Janet made the motion.
we have a second?
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor? All right, so to be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, we have pending applications listed on the agenda. This actually one or 25-26, 196 Durham Road. Again, this is Temple Beth Sitka and did we already table it, Erin, to the February 9th?
No, we tabled it from our last meeting and, I'm sorry, we tabled it at the last meeting, I believe, till today. I have been
Okay.
able to, meet with a representative from the temple to kind of go over my staff comments that I had provided. And, so they're working on, some responses and potential, modifications
And they'll be
to,
ready at our next.
to the plan. Yes. So
Sometimes we can table.
I'll circle back with them. I think that is our last meeting without, I think we're into extensions now.
After that.
I think
Just gonna ask that.
I think we're 9 days into your 65-day extension.
That was
Extension.
gonna be my question.
Okay,
Yes, I did calculate that, Mike.
so do I need a motion to?
Yes,
table it?
we should table it for 2 weeks.
Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
second, any discussion, all in favor?
All in favor?
19th it is. Then we are in receipt of 26-2. This is Town of Madison Campus Drive. Again, Erin, is this something that's really just a notification, sort of administrative, or is this?
It's you, the commission is acting administratively. It's
Yeah.
a site plan modification. It's here on town campus across the way, the police department, in their fenced in
No.
parking area. They're looking to, build a detached storage building and,
Going too far now.
Yeah.
tabling this, it's not a coastal site plan. It doesn't need inland wetlands, although there are wetlands. They're outside of the 100
It's a
foot
site
upland
plan
review.
modification.
We're tabling that, to allow them an opportunity to go to ACA.
Okay, great.
Because
Have a
it's
motion.
required from your regs, but
Okay.
it's not visible at all.
Second. Any discussion, all in favor? Yeah, it's on for the 19th. And then 98 Middle Beach Road, that's 26-1. Coastal site plan application to replace porch footings, framing and decking within 25 feet of a critical coastal resource, and they've requested, because of deed.
It's a 35-day referral period, which
Yeah.
bumps them, and we have new deadlines on our applications
Forms,
for
okay.
that 35 days. If you wanted to be conservative, I mean, you could table it to your next meeting to see if we hear back from Deep with the checklist by then.
If we want to be optimistic.
Yeah, yeah, and then you could always continue it to the 5th from that meeting if you'd like. It's up to you.
Table it to the 5th.
That's fine.
Motion,
Motion.
second. All in favor, any discussion? Okay. So, moving on to approval of minutes, Secretary Glenn Morgan.
Approval of minutes, meeting held January 15th, 2026. Members present, Mike Gupta, Vice Chair John Duza, Secretary John Morgan, Bob O'Connor, Janet Peckinpah, Andy Rubin, Chair Carol Snow, and alternate Michelle Clark, sitting for Max Caroon. Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make motion. Second? I'll second it.
I have a couple of corrections. If anyone else has any.
I found it hard to read through the description of the applicant's presentation. I got my head spinning again, just reading the minutes.
Yes,
But anyway, I think they're okay, but yeah. whatever you have.
Members present, Jeffrey Downs was not present. I think he was listed as being present.
That's
Not here.
And there's just some minor wording change, fixes, I think, on page 3. There's this, sentence that reads, he's also noted that one of the requirements for giving a waiver is a waiver could have an impact on could have any kind of impact on the neighbors. It should read, waiver should not have any kind of impact to the neighbors. On page 5 again, first full paragraph, Commissioner O'Connor that it could also be argued that building, it's just missing a word there. So it'd say Commissioner O'Connor noted that it could.
Of course. Yeah,
What page was that?
with,
Page 5.
5, right?
should say with great eloquence.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then on page 5, there's a couple of, a missing and just a deletion.
Bring back dues.
Commissioner Snow noted that he reviewed the minutes of the May 16th, 2019 commission meeting. There needs to be an and inserted there. And saw that the vote to change, there's, to do is in there, that should be struck. So that the vote to change the text amendment. So,
Okay.
minor stuff.
good catches.
That's it? Anyone else? No?
No.
Vote to approve? Thank you.
This.
Promotion?
I made motion to.
I seconded it.
Sorry.
Sorry, I shouldn't have moved. Okay.
I'm sorry, we're down, Claire.
Oh, are you taking the notes?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Thankfully, correct. I got ahead in there. Better be kind next month when you're reviewing my minutes.
Yeah, well,
I have no comments beyond thank you for participating tonight. This was a fun, couple of good ones. And, appreciate everybody's input. Erin, any other?
My only comment is I sent those who need continuing ed. Some of you are just fresh starting a new term, so you've got some time. Some are getting close.
Did you send it to everybody or just?
Only the people who need.
Cause I got one and I have like.
I got one.
I get 16 hours.
And I just went
You
to.
started over in January. It's each term.
Oh, so this is new for Haynes Lane.
So now you have 4 years to complete them again.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so I could send it.
you don't have 4 years, Bob O'Connor.
Cause I did
You have
23
until the
and
27th.
I did
I did
23
one
and 24.
last 2 months ago, remember?
No, but you have to report them to us
Oh, and I haven't.
so that
reported
we
to you.
can track them.
Oh, so I should bring
So
in these.
whatever records, yeah, email them
I
to me
have-
or bring
I'll-
them
okay.
in. There. Yes,
I'll
and we will,
send that.
we will update that. Yes, that's the only way we know.
So because
What you
my
take.
term expired.
It's per term.
Okay, but I have 4 years.
Yes.
I promise.
I might not.
The town, website where our names are listed
Come on.
Needs to be updated.
needs to be updated with, I think, our term dates.
I bet that's correct, probably across the board, since all of the January new appointments.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a coordination. I'll note that.
Because I was gonna push back and send you all my classes that I've done.
Project looks out. Can you look at the picture?
You sure?
Erin,
Oh, yeah.
Give it to her.
Nice.
I did not hear a motion to adjourn. Oh, I haven't,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.